Hi, I'm Tiffani Patland, host of the Tiffani Talks Health and Wellness podcast, where I discuss tools, tips, and techniques to heal your mind, body, and soul. I am on a godly mission to heal the world.
So our special guest today is Jodi Suboor, who is an empowerment coach. Let's see. Jodi is a mother, a widow, and now happily remarried wife who is an empowerment educator and bestselling author of Healing You with Love, a journey of resilience, joy, and empowerment. Jodi shares her story of abuse, defying death, and overcoming several physical injuries to fall in love only to have cancer rip her love away. She defies all odds to live her own happily ever after. Let's welcome Jodi.
Hi. It's awesome to hear that.
I'm so happy you're joining us today. I love your background.
Thank you. It's always the beach at my place.
I love that. I'm going to actually do that come winter because it's slowly approaching and we missed that, the sunset and the beach. So that's what I'm going to start doing is hanging stuff up all around my house. So it's always beach time. I love that. So how's your day been?
Oh, it's good. We got the kids in school and, all that wonderful learning how to do homeschool again from a different process and just making life happen. So it's good. And now I'm here.
I hear that. It takes a strong woman to be a homeschooling mom, I tell you.
I feel like an underpaid substitute teacher because it's not really my program education I'm teaching someone else's. So I'm like, and I think we put these two things together now.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Be nice to the teacher. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Is that what you tell your kids?
Yeah.
Great.
I go, I'm going to let the teacher know how you behaved if you don't.
Whoops. I love that. So I want to just get right into things and have you share with our audience how you got started on writing this book.
So I actually, I had no plans of writing this book, but I kept having it come to me through other people like, so when you write your book, and I'm like, stop. I don't write books. And it was actually, I've had several friends who are very connected spiritually, and they were like, you're writing a book. We know what's happening. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And and then our book coach, Christine Gale, was a parent in my child's class. And I tried to avoid her and be like, book. I don't do that.
That's the book lady.
But I was like, it just kept coming back to me. And no matter how hard I pushed it away, it just kept coming back. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to, she had a book event. So I went to it and I was like, I don't want to sign up to write a book. I'm like, but do you do anything else? And she's like, I'm having this event. And I was like, okay, I'll go to it. And that was her first Unleash Your Rising Unleash Your Rising event. And
breakthrough event, right?
Breakthrough event. I was like, what is it called? Breakthrough event. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm writing a book. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to sign up with her. And he's like, whatever. And
typical husband response.
He's like, you know how much money we have and you're whatever, that's what you're doing. Okay. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. So I signed up with her and I was like, great. The kids are at school. Everything's gonna be great. And boom, COVID hit and everybody came home. My husband, my kids. I was like, I made a commitment to write a book. And so through all these processes, despite how much harder it was to write this book during COVID, as you know, I just kept doing it. It was like I had to write it. And no matter how many obstacles were put in place, I just kept having these opportunities that said, hey, keep going. And I had setbacks, and I just was like, okay, there's a setback. And I was able to deal with that setback and keep going. And to be honest, I don't know how I got here either. I just know that the divine made sure this all happened. And I had a lot of people rooting for me. And, it was meant to be. And my story needs to get out because I know there's so much healing needs to take place. Everyone is hurting from something. And right now we're all dealing with anxiety and overwhelming and the unknown. And, those are all things that I've gone through on top of all the other horrific things that I've gone through. And it's nice to see other people succeeding, knowing that you can too, because it's really just showing up. It's tedious. You have to get up every day and you have to just keep trying every single day.
I have to ask you, now that you're in the space that you're in now and looking back, how does that make you feel? Like before, like when you thought that writing a book was probably out of your reach, like, yeah, right, I'm going to be a best-selling author. Do you ever stop and look back and be like, wow?
I don't know. I feel like it still feels unreal. It's like, okay, I did this, like little me, who am I? But I did it. And I did it with, I'm an Amazon bestseller and I can claim that title. And I didn't write a book. I couldn't even write a book. I didn't think I could write a book. So it's just another thing that no matter what is put in place, if you just keep going and working towards your goal, even if it's not, something that you're going to achieve next week or in a couple weeks, but you just keep getting up every single day and working on it, that you can achieve anything. And if everything is possible.
Yeah, it's so cheesy, right? But so true. It really, really is. You and I are both living proof of that. And what I love is how when I read your book, and I know you felt the same way because you mentioned it to me when you read my book, it's like, wow, we have a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
We can resonate with each other's story. But the one part that I cannot resonate with that I would like for you to share is your how you defied, all odds. Share with us about the defying death moment.
So I hit a tree.
How old were you?
I was 16 and I was dumb and didn't know anything and unexperienced, not dumb. I was unexperienced.
Good catch. Love that. I do that too.
I was unexperienced and I did not know what black ice was because I'm from San Diego and my mom moved me to Pennsylvania, and what was cold, I didn't understand it. Cold is 70 degrees. You're like, what? I have to have a jacket? What is that? So yeah, we don't know what cold is in San Diego. But I hit black ice and I slammed into a tree on a cemetery of all places, right? It's just like a fun place to die at. And I don't know how long I was there, but they had enough time for the local volunteer fire department to show up, to pull me out of my car, to place me on the ground on a white sheet, and then begin to help my girlfriend, who was in the car also, who suffered severe injuries, but not life. They weren't life-threatening. They were just, they kind of were life-threatening, but they weren't as life-threatening as dead. Right. And so they pulled me out, put me on the thing and left. And somebody came by and luckily they saw my hand. I'm going to figure out the camera. They saw my pinky move and they were like, hey, I don't think she's dead. And I think that's when I was told to come back, and that's why. So those are the facts that I know. But when I was on the other side, I was engulfed in what I would say is like a color, and it was kind of like. And as I'm getting older, I'm understanding it more. It was more like I was in a vibration, and a vibration of love. And I think my brain, to make it make sense, kind of like put what would look like a human, but it had no face, it had no hands, it was just like a human, and it was that color, and it just was like kind of an outline to say like, this is what that is, and it just went go that way. And I was like, okay. And if you know me, I don't say okay to anything. I'm like, why? I'm not doing it because you told me to. And
where am I going? What's the weather like?
I was angry at the world, and I was like not doing anything that anyone was telling me. But I just went, and it was such a good place, and I felt safe. I wasn't cold. I wasn't injured. I broke several bones. I had crushed my spleen. I had internal bleeding. I had brain injuries. My whole right side of my brain was swollen, and my left side of my body didn't move. And I broke all of my right side of my body, so that was all busted up. So yeah, I was kind of a mess.
It sounds like it.
I was definitely a mess, but I'll tell you, my girlfriend actually just had a baby, and she shared with me a very similar experience because she almost lost her life. And she was like, it was beautiful, Jodi. And I'm like, oh, you were there. You were there. You were there. And she's like, I didn't want to come back. It was so beautiful. I'm like, well, it wasn't your time, so I'm glad you came back. But, to have other people go there and like, I was there and see it and be able to like resonate with that. It's so exciting, and it's giving me goosebumps. And
yeah, me too.
And like, it's beautiful. I want to be there. Everyone's like, are you afraid of death? I'm like, I don't want to die. I want to live because I have experiences and people that I love here. But death itself is a beautiful thing when you're on the other side. So
wow, that's something I definitely do not have experience in, but I read your book, and didn't this happen to you twice?
Well, the first time I was definitely dead. The second time 3 years later almost to the day, I flipped my car and I broke all my bones and ended up in an old folks home recovering, which was a lot of fun because I was 19 and 19 and my roommate was 98. And I broke everything. I couldn't wipe my own butt, and I had casts on both my arms. I had a broken femur. I had a broken collarbone. Still have a broken, like my pinky never grew back straight. If I could break it, I did. Wow. I broke all this over here. It's all restitched and all that stuff. So when I severed all the tendons and nerves in my hands, I'm going the wrong way. I've got to figure out the camera, but what the heck is that? Oh, I can't do this. Whatever. I got this beautiful 5 on my arm.
Wow.
So I'm not supposed to be able to use these hands, but look it.
That's right. That's something in your story that I really love that you spoke about, was that, and I forget the specific words, I put it in your review.
Yeah. I don't have to be what they tell me I could be.
Yes.
I can be what I want to be.
Yes. And you did that. It's hard to imagine you being that broken and injured by looking at you right now, because you are beautiful, radiant, and healthy. And hello, you just launched your book and you are now an Amazon bestseller, yet you had so much turmoil, trauma. You had trauma in your life and 2 near-death experiences, and where it's just insane. You are definitely meant to be here on this earth. Yes. You are not meant to go anywhere.
I'm not. That's what I'm like. I'm going to be really old. I'm like, unfortunately, I have to be really old. I figured out. And my husband's 10 years older than me. So I'm like, just so you know, I'm not going to be a widow again. So you're going to have to be even older when you die.
See, that's another similarity. Mine's 10 years older as well.
Yeah. I was like, you're going to have to definitely be, I definitely going to make it to my mid 80s. So, you're going to have to make it to me in 90s. So
maybe for 100. I want to celebrate my 100th birthday.
I'm kind of tired. I've been through it all. So
well, now it's your time to shine. Now it's time for everything to be in the light, everything to be beautiful, and all these amazing, wonderful things to happen for you. That's what I believe. And because of everything that you experienced, you're now an empowerment coach, an empowerment educator, right? Can you share with the audience what that is, what that looks like, what you do for other people?
So, I work with my son a lot. He lost his dad when he was 10 months old, and my late husband's whole side of the family suffers from severe anxiety and, genetics. he does too. And, you know, we do a lot of work. I've been working with him since he was little. And it's just, you know, it's learning how to reprogram. When he starts getting really upset and overwhelmed, you know, it's like, okay, we got to take a big breath. Like we got to blow out the candles, you know, you know.
I love that so much. That's what I
And
tell my kids. Smell the flowers or smell the cake or smell
yeah,
something fun and blow out the candles.
yeah.
I love it.
And then, you know, it's like, and then we say those things, the things I put in I am safe, I am in control, there are no emergencies. And, you know, I have him look at things and, you know, I know that I'm his safe space. So I'm like, okay, touch my nose, which is kind of scary when he's freaking out. I'm like, touch my nose. Cause I know he's not going to punch me because he's a good kid, but it makes him have to think like, I can't just, because I'm upset, I have to go, you know, and so I have not been punched in the nose yet, but I've been touched in the nose many times. But,
That's
you know,
technique.
yeah, so we do a lot of those things. And I teach him, you know, when everything is like, he's like, everything is going out of control, he can't get what he wants. Like, okay, what can you do? What is going right? Okay, so you're overwhelmed with school. All right, or this project you have. What is it about the project that you feel that you're doing good at? And then we go from that. We learn how to, instead of focus on all the things that we can't do, we focus on the things that we can do and what we have control of, because there's so many things, most things in life you don't have control of, and you definitely don't have control of other people.
True that. I know that.
Yeah. So, you know, I do all these tools. My children hadn't been in school for a year, and they went to summer school this year to kind of get to see if how they wanted to work that out. And every morning, because they were kind of anxious about it, I had them look in the mirror and tell themselves, because I said, okay, you're going to look at that person and you're telling them what kind of day they have. And so we're driving around and they're passing the mirror around in the car, and we're telling ourselves what kind of day we are. And I started off before we drove, and I was like, okay, you are a best-selling Amazon, best-selling author, and you're a great mom, and, you know, all these things. And then I pass it on, and it made the morning, even though it was hectic trying to get kids into school and, you know, learning this new routine, it made the mornings go so much better, and their day went better. You know, and I know I'm telling you this about with my children, but I do this with my friends. They call me all the time, and I'm like, hey guys, we have to change what we can control, because we can't change anything that we can't control. So if we think up instead of think down, it makes everything a lot better. So those are the things. There's lots of different tools, and it would really be depending on what it is specifically you're dealing with, how I would work the tools with you. But there's so many tools. I just became a certified Ho'oponopono practitioner. I am a belief clearing practitioner. I also do tapping with Ho'oponopono, and that's super awesome. My kids like doing that too. It's fun. They make me do a lot. As Heidi told me on one interview, she said, it's kind of boring, but it works. So just learning all the different tools that we can do to really, because we're the ones that it's what we do, and it's tedious. It's something you have to do every single day. You can't just get up and go, okay, today I had a session and now I'm better, because life doesn't happen that way. So it's teaching people how to create life changes to better themselves, which
lifelong changes, right?
Lifelong changes. So yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that there's a lot of that in the world. It's coping mechanisms, and while they serve their purpose, I mean, I like, if you're in the middle of a crowded place and you experience an anxiety episode, a coping mechanism in that moment is great. The breathing technique or different things that you can do, like you mentioned, focusing on something, things like that. That actually happened to me one time. I went to an event, and this lady started talking to me, and I don't know if she brought up the word or something triggered me, and I instantly, my body language, everything changed. And I didn't even know this. She picked up on it. And I mentioned something along the lines of like, I'm sorry, I'm not okay right now. And she's like, I can tell. And she kind of did what you said. She kind of took me aside. She asked me, what are you experiencing? What's the color? What's this? What's that? And it was incredible. And it helped me in that moment. But that's not something that helps in the long term. So when we become empowered, and with knowledge. And like I just mentioned on my Wellness Wednesday video about not believing the lies of your circumstances, right? That's a huge
Yes.
one. But I love everything that you're saying, like focus on the good, like with your kids, how you're saying, let's not focus what's going wrong. Like this isn't happening right. This isn't happening. Just to focus on the good. That's so hard to do though. So that's why it's good to have somebody like you, right? An empowerment coach, an empowerment educator to teach us how we can empower ourselves and how we can pull ourselves out of always having those negative reactions to things, because our words have power. I mean, come on, you just corrected yourself in the very beginning because you saw that. I love that because I do that.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, words have power. And if you
Yes.
mention something bad about yourself, pull it back, grab it back from the universe. I take that back. I cancel that. And then say something else that's, better and more positive, because you're worthy and you deserve that.
Yes.
So as we come to the end of our show, is there a profound statement, quote, or mantra that you live by that has helped you heal that will inspire our listeners today?
So it's kind of corny. I told, and I love it. But life is tough. Don't forget your hard hat.
I like that a lot, coming from the construction field. That's like amazing.
And I have healing tools. It's all that,
Yeah.
It's that whole yeah. My mom was an airline mechanic, so I'm all like, I'm like tools and construction hats. That makes sense to me. So
that resonates with you totally. That fits you. Like, I love that. That's so cool. And you never would have guessed, right? People look at us and it's like, you come from construction? It's like, yeah, you're not. So where can people follow you on social media?
So I am Jodi Suboor. And I have healing. I have a group. I'm still not very good about social media. So, but I, as Tiffani found out this morning, but Jodi Suboor as my Facebook page, healingyouwithlove.com. I guess that's the page. That's the Healing with Love is my Facebook page, right? And I'm Jodi Suboor on Facebook. I have a private group, Healing You with Love. And I also have a website, healingyouwithlove.com. So it's really easy. Just remember Healing You with Love.
So get social and follow Jodi on all social media platforms. And thank you, Jodi, for coming on the show. And I will be seeing you on the threads. You take care.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you. And I got my book, so they're on pre-order and they're ready to be signed and delivered.
So get her book, you guys. You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to her website. It's scrolling there at the bottom. You can go to her website and purchase her book there. That's where you get a signed copy, correct?
Yes.
Amazon will probably get to you quicker. It just won't get signed. So whichever way works for you. So thank you so much, Jodi. I'll be seeing you around. You bet. Bye.
Bye.
So thank you to everyone listening and watching today's episode. Please comment with what resonated with you and invite your friends and family to like and follow on Facebook and YouTube, or you can listen on all major podcast platforms for Tiffani Talks. I leave you today with this quote: "The empowered woman is powered beyond measure and beautiful beyond description." I'm Tiffani Patland, signing off until the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye.